welcome back to our live broadcast. I just want to say that as part of the Austin Horror Society, I just eat up horror, any kind of horror that I can get my hands on. And during South by Southwest, it's just a great time because we get a chance to check out all these amazing shorts, these horror shorts. And one of them that we were able to check out that premiered last night in the Midnighters shorts section was the Night of the Slasher, and amongst all of the other ones. And
yeah,
yes,
so
that one,
yes,
all right.
So we've got our guests, or the filmmakers from the film. Would y'all like to start at the end and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'm Scott Javore, and I act in the movie.
My name's Adam Lesar, and I act in the movie, but I also produced it.
And I'm Shant Hamassian. I wrote, directed, and produced it.
I have to say, we get to watch these. Sometimes we get to watch them at home. We get to watch them in theaters. I got a chance to watch this one at home because we were going to be at the screening. And my wife, I laughed so hard at some of your scenes, particularly with your character. One of the lines in particular just made me. I almost fell out of my chair. About you being a high school student. And don't want to ruin the line, but my wife was like, why is it so funny? And I had to explain to her sometimes in old slasher movies, they would get literally 30-year-old men and women and guys in their 40s going, I'm a high school student now.
It's kind of fun because Shant made me look older, not younger, to play high school.
Yeah.
And I am over 30, so.
He's like, should I shave? And I'm like, no.
No, let's have the beard, let's have the hair, yeah, so.
Can we talk about what was the genesis of this? Where did the idea for it first come from, and how did you all, come up with the idea and make
Sure.
it?
So the film's about a teenage girl who must commit horror movie sins, do drugs, drink alcohol, have sex, and in order to lure out a mass killer to fight him and defeat him. So anyway, the genesis of that was after dealing with a lot of discouragement in the industry and trying to get projects off the ground and dealing with some abusive working environments. I was almost traumatized by the amount of failure I was hitting. So I made the horror movie sins about failure. Some people who suffer through trauma, they do the horror movie sins. They drink, they do drugs, they have sex, they do whatever they can to cope with the pain and exercise their demons. So we have a teenage girl who's not a party girl. She's dealing with the trauma from the killer from a previous little fight or a chase that happened, and she was brutalized by the killer. So that's how she copes with it and tries to defeat him.
See, one of the things I love about certain movies, and me and Gavin and a couple of people have had arguments, I love when people try to tell part of their story without explicitly saying, this is what happened. Like, that explanation, she survived an attack from a previous encounter, is told to you by just showing you. It's not said like, hey, previously this happened to her. It's, hey, you see this? Wonder where she got that. And it's pretty obvious. And you guys told a lot of parts of the story without actually saying anything, and I actually really respect that without going into more detail.
Yeah, that's the goal. We wanted to get a short film that gave you a lot of backstory with visual information, yet, and we have a scene that takes place, but it also, the way it ends on a cliffhanger for you to find out more. I mean, the short, what happens and it ends, but there's room for more to be continued.
And I love that to be continued. There was certain moments where I was expecting certain things, and you gave them to me, but not the way I was expecting them. Is the best way to say that, I think. I got that right? Yeah. So, but yeah, you guys hit all the tropes, but in such a way that just made me both laugh and enjoy it. So
yeah, we wanted to repurpose that. There's so many films that are about horror movie cliches that have been done to death. So what can we do in order to bring new context and make that fresh again? So it's another inversion. So it's like the meta of meta. So you invert on itself to do it.
Is this y'all's first trip to South by?
Oh yeah, it's my first time in Texas. Period.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So all of y'all. Wow. So what is it like making this film? Finding out that you've made it to South by Southwest, and that you're gonna. What was it like when y'all found out?
I took a video of them actually, which is a pretty funny reaction on Facebook. We have been in over 120 film festivals, so we've had quite a long ride. We premiered in South Korea. So we played at Screen Fest. We've been at so many festivals. And by the time we hit South by, and we were all gaining a lot of traction in regards to getting a feature interest happening in the industry. So, and now that we got into South by, it's only amplified that. And it's given us even more validation and more reason that a feature of this should get made, because there's an audience for it. South by has validated it and is screening it here. So it's been a great ride. It's been blowing our minds.
Yeah, it's been very cool. I mean, we've been to a fair amount of the festivals, and it's like coming here is so exciting because more stuff happens in one day here than happens at a lot of
it's
festivals.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, people talk about it, but until you actually experience it, and you're in there with, and it's going to get even more as the music ramps up. Yeah. The music part of the festival. I mean, it's just where you can barely walk down the street. It's just like this huge thing, but it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's nice to know that in LA we're not the only ones that deal with traffic ever.
Oh, yeah.
Austin, we're kind of notorious for that in a bad way. I have a question. Where did you find the mask? Where did you find that?
Well, we had
spray painted in white.
Yeah, we had a mask concept in mind. Since Halloween, they use a William Shatner mask that's spray painted, so we thought it'd be funny if we used a Leonard Nimoy Spock mask as a nod and satirical way to that. And I ordered them on the internet.
Okay.
And then we were trying to adjust the mask and do the spray paint thing, but they got botched and they were ruined 2 days before the shoot. So he had, on a Friday, had to drive 2.5 hours outside of LA to find masks, because they were physically located in a store, like outside of LA. And he got there 5 minutes before closing time, driving in 2.5 hours of traffic, just trying to reach the store to get the masks.
Friday before the shoot. So
yeah.
This was if I didn't get there on time, we didn't have masks.
And so you didn't survive at least the I-90 apocalypse. What is it? What do they call it? The I-90 apocalypse?
They call it the Carmageddon.
Carmageddon, yeah. You didn't have to go through the Carmageddon for that one, did you?
No.
Oh, thank God.
But it was pretty similar. Okay. Carmageddon's actually good because people say, oh no, it's Carmageddon, let's not drive. The freeways are practically empty. So the best time to drive is during Carmageddon.
So in making any film, is it making a short, anything where sometimes you might have a limited resources, and a limited budget, you run into all sorts of obstacles that are almost a film in themselves. Where do you have any stories about things that, besides the mask story, do you have any?
Oh, a lot. Like the camera fell before a very first take.
Oh.
Yeah. And it broke. Yeah, it broke, and we lost half a day of shooting, and we had 2 days to shoot. So we had to, on a Sunday night, find the camera, and no stores are open, and we had to find as many people as we could, making as many phone calls as we could. And we started shooting at midnight instead of 7, and we had to rush through everything, and we barely got it completed. We just barely finished everything we needed to. It was a race, so it's a miracle that it's even done, let alone good.
No, it's quite good. I did like that the fight sequence. I have to say it is hard to see sometimes, even at a high level movies, a decent fight sequence in a horror movie, because most of them look really just we're fighting here now, or it's jumbo cam. You can't see where everything's marked. I could feel and see where those slashes and those cuts, and particularly when she just goes at it with the bad guy, it's oh God, I could feel this. And it was nice. That was really good camera work on your guys' part, I feel. The movie was actually very well shot, so in my opinion. So, you guys already had your premiere. Is it going to show any other times?
Yeah, there's a couple more screenings. Thankfully, it's written on the postcards in the back. Monday, March 14th, 9 p.m. at the Alamo Ritz 1. Mm-hmm. And Thursday, March 17th, 10 p.m. at the Alamo Ritz 1.
And where can people find out more about everything that y'all have going on?
There's nightoftheslasher.com. It's best to go to the Facebook page. So if you search in Night of the Slasher in Facebook, that's where you'll get the latest updates and the latest screenings and announcements and so on. So we update it every few days. So that's probably the best place to do it.
And one last question. As first-time visitors to Austin, let me welcome you all to our wonderful city here. And is there anything that you all are planning to do while you're here? Is there a special thing that...
Well, what about you guys?
I don't know. I hear the Tex-Mex around here is pretty great, and you have some awesome food places. So
We do.
Keep my mind open, my eyes open, and
Thread
see what I can
Gills.
find. Thread Hills.
Threadgills.
Thread Gills.
Yes, it's named after a gentleman. He kind of discovered this woman called Janice, but we'll go on to that later.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody? Any other things y'all have planned?
We're overbooked with festival-related stuff. We are like overbooked. So I book several things at once, and by the time that it comes up on my schedule, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go to this thing instead of that thing. So yeah, we're booked from like the morning till night.
We want to see some cool films. I mean, we felt like we played in this really awesome block of really good films. So
But we've got to get going, unfortunately, right now, guys, because our next group's showing up. So stay tuned. We've got more films ahead of our 6-hour marathon of insanity.
Huge shift in a fight. Like there was like some coming over from one hill and some coming from the other hill, and there's going to be a battle in the middle with swords and tentacle monsters. It was going to be horrible.